Okay, that should be that. Aaron, thank you for the laugh. Welcome in. How you doing? All things today. Does that sound all right? Yeah, it does. Okay. Okay. It's going well. It's going well. I'm just trying to adjust. I've been up for almost 2 hours already, so my rhythm is thrown off. Um, and I just had a moment of reading your message in maybe chat about MacBook and development. I recently picked up an M5 Air, um, and because I want to be able to go and sit in the living room and do more development. And I was thinking maybe I should demonstrate developing .NET stuff on other things other than Windows as well. So maybe one day I get the MacBook plugged in and stream off of that. So, or the Mac Mini. I could get the Mac Mini plugged in and show development off the Mac Mini when the weather's cooler and my AC isn't at risk of popping the electric at moment's notice. So, anyway, yeah. Hi, maybe. Welcome in. How you doing? How are things? So, last couple of days, I've been working to try and get my profile stuff set up more. I think I'm almost at the point of getting the profile in, or at least developed. And I had an issue with my permissions stuff, so I'm going to have to look at that. If I log out right now, my permissions are screwed. I was looking at the air, but my old stubborn ways, I'm thinking no fans equals bad. We're definitely going to grab either that or the Pro because I can't stand my small rooms. The only reason I didn't grab a Pro is because just it's sheer expensive at this point. Like the mini, the Air cost me $1,800, and that was with 32 gig and half a terabyte of storage. So I went for memory over storage. I still got the upgraded version of the Air, the slightly better processor with better GPU. Um, but they do pretty good. And my friend has he bought the, what's it called? The Neo. Um, and he loves that. He thinks it's an awesome little device. Yeah. Only $1,800 for a 13-inch MacBook Air is still quite a bit. I mean, that was $200 more than it cost a month earlier, right? So the prices are definitely climbing. Uh, I just missed that opportunity. I'd saved up for it, so I didn't have to use the credit to get it. So yeah, but the MacBook Pro, and I bought a MacBook Pro before I have a 2017 MacBook Pro, so I'm not opposed to buying the Pro, but yeah, it's just uh, to get Pro in similar in a lower spec, it's still more than that $1,800. So yeah, but anyway, one day maybe I'll share some development on showing that .NET can be done on more than a Windows machine, and that it can still develop this in the same way. So I think that might be good to show. I think a lot of people still believe that .NET means Windows. They're probably something like 2,900 for a 16 screen, therefore a large chunk. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. My friend actually spent 5 grand buying a MacBook Pro. He got the Max, but yeah, yeah, he couldn't afford any more memory. I think he got 64 gig in it, but he couldn't afford any more because it was just ridiculous to put more in. Yeah, so yeah, it's crazy money. Okay, so what I did the last couple of days is I tried to get this reorganized. I tried to get this working. So right now I have this dialog for teams, so you can select which team you're on, and this one to do the profile, the permissions. The problem I'm having right this second is that I've somehow lost all permissions. It's not one of one. There should be 30, 32 here. So yeah. So I'm kind of breaking up the functionality. This makes sense because you can't edit this information. And ultimately, all you'll see here is an email, not an actual name. The name will be if they set the name, not if you've added the name. So there's some changes here. And I tried to make it so that this is consistent behavior because the design it gave me had a pencil edit on this one and then just a click on this one, and I changed it a little bit and it ended up with like a pencil with the word edit here and a pencil here. Oh no, the word edit here, but a pencil with the word edit here. So it got really inconsistent. I can toggle the active status live and I can edit these live, but this should be listing about 32 permissions right this second. So I'm trying to figure out, is it limiting it to what it thinks it has, or is it actually a bug in the data? Actually, I enable kick again just to see if that actually works, and it looks like it does work. My streaming for says Agile Platform Dev. What is my Twitch title say? Not that anyone want to watch and kick, but I figured I had the setup done in the stream settings, so might as well get all three going at once. See how it goes. Okay, so what I need to check first is my user permissions in here. It looks like they're all there. So, uh, tenant management users. I need Jeffrey, so 01. I know that I can right click and say close all on there. I do know that. I just find it very therapeutic to middle mouse click them. It's a quirk I've developed, I suppose. So let's filter these by that one. Oh, that ain't good. Oh no, that's the. No, that should be the identifier. Limited ID1. That's not good. Oh no, there. We'll just start both with 019, but let's go to user permissions view. Select star from users, cross join permissions on user permissions. So okay, here we go. There's the. How can I not have? This is seeded by the server, not by my machine, surely, because there's no chance that they all happen to start with 019. User ID. Okay, so user ID 2, user ID 1. So we do have user permissions. That's not right though, because that's not. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's both users. Okay. Yeah, 1 and 2. Okay, so I see it now. So this is user 1. So we have those permissions, but when we're listing them here, we're only showing create users. Find the GraphQL query. Oh, there's the teams. That's teams. That's my permissions. Interesting. So I would say I am this user and I do have all the permissions there. Some of them shouldn't be there. That's right. So list tickets, create tickets and delete tickets is fine that they're not there in my permissions. But when I click that, okay, that gives me it looks like they're there, right? So that's interesting. It loads the entire load, the data for the user from the server. Does it do it there as well? No, it doesn't do it there. It does do it every time there. Interesting. So that's a thing. Uh, this is the challenge. Once you start using AI to do a lot of this stuff, it's very hard to go and figure out. Like you can review it all you like, but once the structure is in itself, it's very hard to keep on top of it. So that would be what's the query there? The query is user by ID. So if we go over here, user by ID, there's the query. That's fetch one, which looks like it is that. Show usages. User item status. Enrich merge. Local optimistic values when. It's got to be this that's causing the problem. So yeah. Let's see. Um, so there's a pattern I'm trying to figure out how to put in here. So when I change a permission, it should update the local store. So when you're going back in to view it, etc., you should see what you last updated to. It shouldn't automatically pull the server, right? It should use its local store until the server says, "Hey, I've got new data." So on the other side, on the back end side, I have a signal. I've got Signal hubs hooked up, and I have a users hub to which I can subscribe, and I haven't done it yet. That when a permission changes or when a user detail changes, etc. Actually, a membership or a permission changes, not a user, because a user changing their data is not something I can subscribe to right this second. I don't have that structure in place. But either way, it triggers a user's update and it tells me, hey, this data changed, so I can actually apply that in real time or near real time. So I think what happened is this broke. So the merged is the user is a user and it equals updated, which is what comes back from the server, coalesced with a user and merges it into the existing. Is that the right order? I think that's breaking. So if I make that updated, what does that change? No. Local optimistic values whenever possibly stale. The server only fills fields absent locally. This keeps this just confirmed optimistic right from being clobbered when the draw reopens before the backend reader model is caught up. Yeah, that's the intention. So if we don't have one, then update it and finish. If we do have one, then check. So that's doing the right thing, but why is that doing it that way? Um, so let's have a look. Changes. I assume I gotta do that piece. I just want to see the behavior change. So settings, users. There you go. That's what it should look like. Now, it's actually gone through and figured out the obviously my permission naming needs some refinement. So in these, I have planning, create, initiatives as actually labels. So it breaks it down, and I'll do that eventually for all the permissions. These are the earlier ones, so that's why they're under create, delete, read, list, etc. That's what it should look like. And actually, it's removed the one that it genuinely does have the one missing that I don't have. So it did take it. It just needs to um, no. Oh, bollocks. Put that back. Break it again. Do you work on .NET stuff at your job as well? Um, yes. Well, we use .NET at work. Um, I'm not touching it as much these days. I'm manager, so I don't get to code as much. But yeah, it's .NET, and that's not random. At some point, it's fine. Yeah, I've worked on. So apart from the 3 years I took working basically on PHP, um, with some .NET stuff in there, I've worked on .NET since 2004, five. Um, in 2005, six, I was and into seven, I was working on a large .NET project. That's kind of the first project I did that was on my own. It was kind of massive. Yeah, so most of my career has been spent in .NET. Kill call. Okay, so just giving it that snippet and telling it to go and review that piece specifically. Um, yeah, because I need this to work, right? I can't have this listing incorrect permissions. So once I've got the permissions working, then I can move on to getting the user profile screen in place. So I got Claude to do me some design work on it. And this is what it came up with. So for a user profile screen, then we'll remove the change photo button. Display name is your name. The email is not changed. That's technically wrong. Then we'll select a city, which will give you your time zone. And we can show the teams. So the idea here being that we can add that extra profile information. So we'll put it in as a profile up here, and you're able to set that information yourself. And that starts to move all that information into the right place. So give that a second. Ah, that makes sense. There we go. Okay. So there you go. Okay. That's better. So basically what it changed there is it flipped. So you take the existing and merge the user on. Existing enriched fields output from the server prediction is still preserved because they aren't unupdated. Yeah, we'll have to test that one. You shall have to test that. So the idea being that I can do delete tickets, read tickets, list tickets. I can save those permissions. They'll persist there. If I open it again, that shouldn't update. And it does, you see. That's the problem. So those, if I refresh in a second, once they've done the full round trip, they'll show properly. That's annoying. Very annoying. Oh, that's coming back. Users is coming back wrong. Interesting. Nitro. Sure, update. So what we do here is so what we're going to do now is just get that query that's been executed there and pull that information through here so we can kind of tweak the query without restarting the entire thing. So get users. Let's see what the actual query looks like. Here. Here. Not that. Find and place with blank. Okay, so that's what we actually query. And we get one permission back. Why do we only get one permission back? So users for tenant goes to users. So this will add the filter for that, and that just gets users. So that's the users view. Users. That's just naming it, which is fine. So users. Interesting. So we know that. So let's actually let's go to the users view. That'll give me some more hints. Table view. Doesn't get permissions there. So even if we were to get entities, users, memberships, that doesn't get permission. Strange. Context users web. That suggests that's a navigation property and it's not. Yeah, you can see that breakpoint. Ignore that one right a second. Fix that later. We need to implement OIDC properly. Teams and permissions. What? Oh, that's view domain. Oh, that's view domain entities. That's not view entities. View user. There we go. Permissions on that. And that should be set by configuration view user view configuration has teams users. That's defining that join, right? That's defining that. So by default, things will link on ID in .NET in the entity framework. So that's why that I don't have to specify that. I'm just saying this has a foreign key of ID. So that should give that link. That's suggesting that's not working. So if we do select star from users view, join permission, user permissions, permissions view, u.id equals u.id, u.id equals 1. It's giving me a whole lot more than that, isn't it? So the next thing to do would be to profile that query and identify what that's doing differently than what I would do. So Builder has many teams with many users, so they're both many-to-many relationship. This is a many-to-many relationship, but permission only has one. And this was working previously. So I'm still tempted to say it's something I'm doing differently on the query side, but I haven't changed this necessarily. This makes sense. And when we do get user, if we go back up here, this, and we do that one, Taylor, copy string, copy JSON literal. Let's go with that. Go to get user. Well, that, remove that. Place that. Format document there. Oh, that's fine. That's fine because I need a user ID, which is this one. That gets permissions, and that's user by ID. So that is get user by ID, which is from users get the first default for that identifier. So it's the exact same view. But this is clearly returning one permission. Get user. They're almost identical. Oh, that's not good. So what do I do here? I need to run the profile, I think. I just realized the camera zooms straight into my face. How do I zoom out? Camera. That'll do for now. What's that? It's a big spike in the head. It's fine. Ah, okay. So two problems. First, for permissions that are downloading when we first get the users, but then the second problem is what happens when we edit the permissions, which we may have fixed, assuming we don't get that load again. So, why is this one breaking but the other one doesn't? Because they're the same joins. Get user gives us a list of permissions. Get users does not. Nothing's constraining this. So we need to find out what that query is that's running there. Now, that's not using filtering and sorting. That shouldn't matter. That's a single. There's no need to use filtering and sorting on that. Filtering and sorting means it will let me specify fields in the GraphQL piece that filter out the data. So here I could do where name equals and not have to change this query at all. It will be handled when the GraphQL piece fires the data up there. So GraphQL helps me out there in terms of I don't have to mess around with specific endpoints with filtering, etc. Suppose I need, do I have SQL management? I don't have it installed. And there's no profiler in. I don't think it's a profiler. There's a plugin for it. No, it's not. You can get updates later. So the only tool I know I have available to me right this second to capture this is to understand why this query is coming back. Is the query coming back with something, and is GraphQL for some reason stripping this out? But again, it hasn't changed, but I don't understand why. So this just gives you all the users back where the tenant identifier is that. That's the entire query. There's no filter. There's no extra filtering here. There's no extra anything. And this one returns everything for that user, which is what gives that behavior of when I click into it, it loads it. If I refresh, it'll show 1. But then when I click into it, it loads them in. So it populates that data into the store. So I don't think I have an option. Uh, can you run SQL Server Profiler without SQL Server Management Studio? Oh, it's not a SQL Server. That's a problem. It's Postgres. Products. That's a bit of a problem. I don't want monitoring. I want profiling. Guess I get to learn. Give me query monitoring. Live session monitoring. Let's give this a try. Oh no, I don't want to sign up. Okay. I'm the I'm the lead engineer. We'll go with that. We're in software 1 to 5. Down. Redgate have my data again. Will it be worth it? I don't know. I just woke up. The 2 dots and some light bouncing on your face is amusing me. Well, welcome in. Yeah, my blinds are right here, and yeah, this time of year the sun will catch me straight away. So I know we're trying to avoid it, but okay, is this downloading? Download for Windows. Hope you are well. Downloads. So what I'm doing right this second is hopefully installing a profile tool that'll let me see the query that's executing to tell me why I'm only getting one um, login or create an account. Uh, Resend email. They emailed me quickly, at least. That's a good sign. Confirm your get email. There we go. Okay. Server. Station.local. Postgres. Doesn't matter if you guys see this one because it's all local anyway. PG SQL password. Yeah. Database. Uh, Database is going to be what the database I'm going to look at is LSView, I suppose. LSView. Yeah. Server does not support SSL. That makes sense. Okay, so live sessions. Let's see if we can make this query. You should have a bunch of queries. Oh, okay. Oh, there's our query. Oh, come on. Oh, no. No. Select, join. That's definitely the query. Okay. Application, database, LSView, backend. So that's the query that ran. Tenant identifier, we'll worry about in a second. Tenants. You can stop. It's not ideal. This is not the best profile. Most important rule in pro. Hi, Dragon. How you doing? Welcome. So, for those new to the stream, what I'm working on right now is I am working on my project management platform, and I am trying to determine how I've managed to get a bug in here where I only receive a single permission, and it looks like it's a query problem. I think what's happening. I think what's happening is the data that I'm pulling from is the view is wrong, and I think I missed something. Nope, no, that's not it. Because it's pulling from you is active. It is wrong. That's not a column on users, is it? That's tenant membership now. It's active is on tenant membership. We need is active removed from users, but that still shouldn't change anything because so the view is wrong, 100% wrong. The view should be. So let's go fix the view before I mess around with anything else. It's way more valuable to fix the view. User's view. Let's do modify view. Go fix the view first. Join. So we want TU that is active. U.verified, U.email, U.name, T identifier. Okay, so that's the correct version of the query. That doesn't fix that though. But that's fine. Sadly, because of the way I've got this set up, well, not sadly, because of my choices of using AI for some of this to help me with some of the administration, I do have to create a migration plan. So, Rex. That's not asking for logging. Create migration. It's active now. Okay, so just making sure I create a migration before I do this. So I'm going to modify the query myself. Simple TU, right? With that. Oh, hold on. Have I got a. Oh, it's already there. Well, that said U dot is active, didn't it? U dot is U is active. I just opened data grip as well, so that's the confusing thing there. So let's give that one more try. Let's start that once more. Refresh that once more. Let it capture its snapshot. If you're new to the stream, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. I am happy to discuss. I'm happy to talk about Kaizu in general. That still says U is active. Oh, because he's pulling from the user view there. Okay, that makes sense. Third. So let's go back to getting this query. For my code. That's fine. We just need the tenant identifier. It's going to come from okay. That gives me everything. From that one, I get all the permissions. From that one, I get one permission. So this is the query that runs here. So why is it getting one permission here? But if I run the query manually, I get that back, which is the correct data. User Teams view, user permission view. Luckily, the robot identified that I was an idiot and had tried to create a migration for something I already had. So that's helpful. We don't have. Why are we getting single back there? Not where I wanted to get stuck today. And this is the sort of thing that would worry me to try and point AI at because there's so many different things that could be wrong. But what we're going to try. Okay. Kenny. How you doing? How are you today? Just ignore YouTube. I don't deliberately ignore YouTube. Is that why you're posting messages? It doesn't post the freaking messages. I've got the channel. I'm sat here and I test things. Oh, I've seen it. They put the wrong date. I just sent all emails the wrong. Oof. Well, have fun with your meeting, Kenny. That's annoying. I apologize. I do not deliberately ignore YouTube. It's meant to post them into this chat. It doesn't do. So my apologies. It's trash for stream content. It is not a good streaming platform for certain. No, YouTube is not. Uh, and it doesn't tell me when. Oh, I'm gonna have to just use these things. Um, Bongotainment, I apologize. I'm first time viewer. You said you used AI for some things. What's your experience for retaining a mental model of the source code that was generated? I struggle, to be quite frank. I use AI a lot right this second on the front end to try and get me a little bit faster on developing the shiny pieces. And I find that it's very difficult for me to jump in and just navigate the code. Um, I don't use it on back end. I use it on administration stuff. So I generally have an idea of. I'm not reviewing every line. I'm not that. I don't have that much time for this stuff. But I generally have an idea of what I'm asking. I try and ask for small things, so I get small things, so I at least understand the principle of the changes. So I understand what I'm looking for at any given time. But yeah, I do definitely struggle with um, um, uh, the retaining just how much it's doing or what it's doing or where it's doing it. So it's a bit of an exploration every time. But welcome in. And yeah, so maybe, or yeah, maybe. I do have it set. I thought I had a stream tool that would join the chats, and I test that normally, and I didn't test it today, and it clearly is not joining the chats. They're meant to be. They're all connected. If I type, if I do that, yeah, that's not showing for me today. So yeah, that's irritating. And it doesn't show me blocked messages. So yeah, my apologies on that one. Was not ignoring it. Yes, that message doesn't show. Oh well. Okay. So I've got to identify where that's happening because it's not happening in the database. Because if I run the same view, the query that's generating, I get all the permissions back. But if I look at the, oh, I need to stop that. Can't be profiling that much data. That's going to stop working eventually. That's not a bad tool. Worry about that later. So it's running the right query. It's passing. It can't get any other tenant identifier because this is my tenant identifier. So I don't doubt this piece of code. Um, it's not, there's nothing to it. It's just doing that. So where is this failing? So let's stop running and make this a method. Come on. Let's do bar results equals turn results. At least now we can inspect what it actually gave us back. So we can see if it's just how it's mapping it in Entity Framework or how it's translating it into GraphQL. This is not something I want to get stuck on right this second, but I might have no choice. Don't do this to me. This is one of the worst things about the remote stuff is it gets itself messed up sometimes, so that probably won't even connect, or it'll kick me out of um, this side. I'm hoping for us to hit that breakpoint, but from experience, I'm going to see that that's going to error. Because it puts the debugger in a weird state, so it's not. It says it's connected, but it's not connected. Now, what should happen is when this starts up, there should be a script that runs that clears all the ports, so it doesn't have anything to block it. But we'll see. Hopefully, we don't get the error again. There we go. Okay, that looks immediately healthier. Nope. See, now I'm getting 401s and all sorts of weirdness. Clear that out. Refresh. We should get back to login screen. It shouldn't ask me that again, but now it's erroring every time. My eyebrows look great today. They're very bushy, I know. And they're all probably messed up from sleeping. It's like, some days it's like something knows that you are about to make progress and needs to jam you up on something that has worked time and time again. It's not like I hide it. The current user is not authorized to access this resource. Like, come on. Nope, still going to break. Consent required. Let's restart this piece. Nope, still not going to work. That's irritating me that it keeps doing that. 401. Up everything. So you don't even want to get to me debugging the actual. That's not going to change anything. The only thing I can think here is that it gets in a strange state on the on the remote side, and then I just have to give it time to clear up or whatever. So I've seen this a few times now, and it's making me doubt. It's making me doubt myself in terms of what have I broken, or is the platform stable enough? Yeah, see, broken. 401, 401, 401. What else could that be? Could be. That's completely useless. Don't want to add all the keys in there. There's actually a Redis viewer. Redis Insight. Sorry. Download today. Don't make me. Apparently my follower count went back up, but no one shows us followed. So that's interesting. No, I don't want Redis open source. I want Redis viewer. Redis Insight. Yeah. So if you followed today, thank you very much for the follow. Making me enter my phone number for a tool that I'm going to use once or twice a month is annoying. All this data collection. Yeah, makes sense. Sorry. Um, so I'm installing Redis Insights right this second because I think that it might have got the token corrupted in the Redis layer, which means it's passing the corrupted token, and that's what's giving me 401s. And the difference is, well, if I give it a few minutes, which by the time I've actually done this, it might actually have done, is no, people at station.local. Yeah. So yeah. So now if I refresh that, yeah, it corrupts the token. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so now we get here, we get to our breakpoint. Our results. Okay. Stop. So yeah, what you should see here is my permissions string there. And that's my token. That's for the back end. We're going to delete that straight away. It doesn't matter. It'll get it again. It's fine. But okay, so what we're going to do on this one is we're going to list it, which is not ideal because it means I'm just going to enumerate it all into memory and then send it down anyway. Whereas it would do that in the GraphQL pieces, so it would manipulate the objects properly. But that at least gives me the point to see the data because this will enumerate it straight away rather than yeah. Okay. Results. One user. Permissions. Come on. Count 0. It's just not. It just doesn't want to give me it at all. Command is already. It's because it's running them in parallel, and I can't get that without significant changes to the underlying code, which means I could break everything anyway. It's just annoying. Uh, that's got the result. No filtering is being applied. Scribbin. Get to that afterwards. So yeah, if you haven't seen the stream before, if you're the first time here, I'm building a project management application. Right now I'm working on dealing with user profile. I'm working on trying to break out certain parts so that the right pieces, like see that broke. Let's see what happens when we do this. Oh, I know why. I know why. I'm an idiot. Originally, I had a key stored in a file. Now, when I restart the entire application, I regenerate the signing key. So every single run, it has different signing. That token can't be used because that's signed against a different thing. That's why it's giving me 401. That is why I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay. I'm happy with that one. Okay. So we're still getting the one of one. When we open it, we get the full set permissions. This works. If I refresh though, I get one of one. Because the get users query is returning. How did you work? You shouldn't work at all because your access token is complete. Oh no, the access token is still valid. Okay. So this one doesn't work. This one gives me every permission, but it's the same sort of query. This just gets it per user. This gets it for everything. So why is that happening? The underlying query here gets the permissions, and I'm doing no extra pieces on that. This is most frustrating. Crash, one of one. Click, 19 of 23. So it did apply the right permissions before. That is correct. Those are things I checked off to verify that it worked. So it is updating permissions. Awesome. Now that looks correct. That's great. It'll show minimum 2 and then, yeah. I think what I might do is I might park this for a little while and go on to the next piece. Can I do that? Can I it's very minor, but it's annoying enough that because the system functionality is fine, except this one piece. And it's very minor, but at the same time, it's very irritating. I don't think I can leave that behind for a second. So let's do this. Let's take this. Let's go to the Y stage. Applaud. Let's just add GraphQL here. Got permissions back. I receive only a single permission. However, if I look here, it's giving me all the permissions. Uh, uh, if I run this query, if I run, this gives me all the permissions. So we're going to see if it can give me any suggestions as to how I could debug this. And let's see if I've checked any of those boxes already. I'm also open to ideas if anyone is paying enough attention to understand what I'm doing that's wrong. Whether it be a typo, whether it be a debugging step, whether it be a configuration. Definitely interested in understanding this. I just can't leave that alone. So the next step will be to add a profile screen in here. And I think I showed it on stream earlier on. We'll add something like this where it'll show, that's interesting, that's live time. You'll select which city you're in and it'll give you the time just to show you that it gets the time zone right. And the idea being that when we show the actual user profile, we can show you where that user is in the world. So yeah, and this is information controlled by the user, right? So the profile information is their name and where they are. And that's their data. If they log into a different tenant, this is still their data. Okay, the fastest split. Look at the new raw HTTP response JSON in the network tab, not what you're doing Apollo layer renders. That tells you whether the collapse happens server side or client cache. My ranked suspects, EF core identity resolution and mismodeled relationship, most likely, and it explains why only the list query breaks if permissions identifier is the permission definitions ID. Tracker returns one shared instance per key if the relationship is configured as one to many. Rather than many to many, navigation fix reassigns that instance to each other. Okay, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll assume that I'm wrong because I do know that that configuration is broken, and the only thing that I'm discounting it for is that I don't touch this code with AI from a making it code perspective, and I haven't changed that. So it's not like it could have changed accidentally. So what that's telling me is, so on the user, I have this for Teams, but I put permissions here. Let's remove that. You don't need to define it in both places. As one user with many permissions. I think it's actually more many to many. So let's go and take that here. Cool. And now let's do permissions. Permissions with many, yeah, with one user. Yeah, it is one to the many. Doesn't matter how I flip that one. JT, hello, how you doing? It is one user with many permissions. There is no many to many relationship. That is fine. A single user query has nothing to compete with, so it looks fine. Quick touch, run another query with query tracking, no tracking, off. Data load shit. So run it with no tracking with identity resolution. I'm not using a data loader. Hi, Coffee. How you doing? Okay. Mission with an is-permitted flag isn't a shared entity, it's a per tenant user fact. Modeling one object once, two aggregates, things, blah, 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 blah. That's not into the DDD side. I'd accept this if the two weren't calling the same underlying query. There's no, I'm not get users and get user. The only difference is this does only return one. But this returns all the permissions, and this returns one permission. And it's not like that's the only permitted one. Everything else is permitted. I'll stop running. Okay. Um, yeah. Let's give it that I should be doing that there, but has many missions with one user as principal key. That can't be. That's user profiles. Derp, not user. Same thing applies, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Twitch. My view account, my follow account when I started the stream was 1427. It's now 1428, and no one shows us followed. That's in Twitch. For debugging purposes, I followed. Thank you, Bongo. Appreciate it. But yeah, I don't see it. That's the thing. Interesting. I don't think that'll change very much. But let's see if it changes anything. And then we'll finish up. Pesky day job. uh, the clear script should clear all the ports and it doesn't do a job of it. Come on. Come on. So if you are interested in learning more about this project, if you want to ask more questions, you're more than welcome to. I'm always open to talking about this. I stream it so that I can share development of, at this point, quite a large application. There's lots of different services, lots of different technologies. I've got Mongo, I've got Postgres, I've got GraphQL, I've got SignalR. I'm using a .NET backend with an Angular front end. I'm using signal stores on the Angular front end piece. I'm not using SSR. There is a Discord channel, a Discord server, and you're more than welcome to join if you're interested. The links are in the cards below on YouTube and Twitch. Um, um, And yeah, I stream twice a week right this second. Hopefully we'll improve that later on in the year. Don't you start throwing up errors now. Not funny. Column user ID does not exist. What was the reason for Angular in comparison to Vue or React? Familiarity. When I started this project, it is I had used a lot of Angular at that point. I was comfortable with Angular. I'd picked up Vue. I'd picked up React. I didn't like React. I still don't like having code and markup intermingled as much. So I do prefer the Angular style. Vue, didn't really have any opinions of it at the time, but I'd used Angular for a few years, so it was the more feasible one. And whether you like it or dislike it, I don't think there's any problem with Angular. um, I thought we could be friends. Well, I am sad, but that is a choice, and that is what makes us. That's what's nice about us all. We all have different opinions, all have different approaches, and what works for you doesn't work for me necessarily. So that is a good thing. But, so that was caused by me changing the configuration of that table to do that. That's foreign key user permission. The key on this one is not. That's why I defined it there. ID. It should work. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a big believer in using tools that are you're comfortable with rather than going, especially on a personal project, right? If I was doing this for professional development these days, like pure professional development, and front end was something I wanted to worry about, then I probably would pick up using Next or Nuxt. That'd be a more solid direction. Angular is still used. It's not that Angular's actively developed. Angular is updated all the time. There's lots of ecosystem around Angular, but it's a different structure. Now, coming from a .NET background, maybe that's what makes Angular more appealing to me. I never liked it never sat right with me, the whole mixing the code in with the Vue concerns with React. And I also don't like Blazor for a similar reason. Blazor blends those things too much together for my liking. So that's why there's not a Blazor front end on this, even though it's a .NET application. So, oof. Oh, you still have the permissions in you. Oh, 44 seconds ago. Ish. That should work. Settings, users, 1 of 1. Okay. So it's not how I'm defining the foreign key relationship. It's not how this is clearly still working, which means that that change I made is not a negative change. It does nothing. It's the net zero. So I'm gonna have to keep working on that one because I cannot live with that saying one of one. So the next phase of this is to get the user profile. And again, all I'm doing this for is so that I can get on a profile card, I can hover over this and see more detail on a user. The goal is to start moving towards building bigger features. I'm just trying to, I did this as kind of a diversion and realized that there's a lot more involved, and it's worth doing because it changes some fundamental design, data design in my system. It moves who owns what pieces around, and I figured it was better to do that now than leave it another couple of months while I get on the other stuff, because a lot of what I'm about to do is about notifications and sharing, hey, someone made a change, etc. So if I don't get this data cleaned up by then, all I'm going to do is make a bigger change for myself later when I have to come back and now change lots more features that I've already developed. So the goal is right this second to get these are the branches for the view and for the backend pieces, well, for the Angular pieces. I like the combo CSS, JS, HTML, and small components, but not large ones. Yeah, maybe again, it's my experience of what people develop, right? That's kind of pushed me away from that. I've seen more large things and large components than small, purposeful components. And yeah, and again, I don't like the mix of the code in there. So yeah. I think I did this one. Yeah, I did this one. This was PR'd. So I merged this one. So I have this one done. I have this one done. Create the data. This is kind of in progress, the LSB4, and then we're going to update the user profile stuff to capture the data, and then this will show a nice user profile card. And when that's done, so we're going to put profile screen in here. When that's done, then I move towards changes. So changes are this feature where you can turn on features and say, hey, I care if this goes to here, tell me about it, but I want to introduce email, and I can it's better. Introduce the ability to say, hey, I want email, I want it weekly, I want it daily, I want a summary update, I want a detailed update, etc. So trying to build out this entire notification system, because that's a fundamental piece of what I'm building. But yeah, that is going to be it for today, I'm afraid, because I have a job to do that is going to need me to jump on that pretty quickly. So I will be back next week, hopefully with this all nice and fresh and working. Again, if you are interested, you are more than welcome to follow. I do stream everything to YouTube, even if I don't see the messages on YouTube. I apologize for that. There is a Discord if you want to join that and hang out and talk more about this. We do hang out there several times a week in the voice chat as well, so you're more than welcome to drop in if you want to talk software development and random stuff sometimes. But yeah, thank you for joining me. We're going to raid Stony. If you haven't, I gave this shout out before. It's linked in the cards below if it doesn't come up. I don't have bots running. My stream is very basic especially compared to yours. If you haven't watched Coffee Then Code, highly recommend going and watching the stream. I do hang out there more than I chat, but it's a really great place. So lots of really cool things, lots of entertaining stuff, bot stuff, etc. Very, very highly recommended. But yeah, so we're going to go raid Stony Eagle. Stony is building his media empire, and he's run out of tokens. So right now he has to be hand coding things. So this should be good to watch. Warning, he has music playing, so as we jump from my stream to his stream, it's going to get louder. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I will be back next week, hopefully with more progress on this, and I will see you then. Take care all. Have a great rest of your day.